Sometimes, the moment you think your life is falling apart is actually the moment it's starting to come together. This is a story about that moment. It's about a man named Alex who thought he had the perfect life. A loving wife, a stable job, a comfortable home. But perfection is often just an illusion. And one rainy Tuesday night, that illusion shattered into a million pieces. Alex had just gotten a promotion at work. He was ecstatic, rushing home with a bottle of her favorite champagne and a bouquet of lilies. He imagined the look on her face, the celebration, the shared joy. He walked into their home, calling her name, but was met with silence. The rain pattered against the window panes, a gentle rhythm that felt oddly menacing. He found a note on the kitchen counter. Not a note of congratulations, but a hastily scrawled confession. She was in love with someone else. She had been for months, and she was gone. In that instant, Alex's world imploded. The champagne bottle slipped from his numb fingers, crashing to the floor, the fizzing liquid mixing with his sudden, silent tears. The lilies felt like a cruel joke. He sat down on the cold kitchen tiles, the note crumpled in his fist, and felt an emptiness he had never known. The man who had everything suddenly had nothing. Or so he thought. The first few weeks were a blur of grief and confusion. He called her, texted her, but there was no reply. He went through the motions at work, a ghost in his own life. His friends tried to help, offering drinks and distractions, but the pain was a constant companion, a heavy cloak he couldn't shrug off. He kept replaying their life together, searching for clues, for the moment it all went wrong. Was he not attentive enough? Did he work too much? The questions were a relentless torment. One morning, staring at his haggard reflection in the mirror, he realized he didn't recognize the man looking back at him. He had spent years defining himself by his role as a husband, as a provider, as one half of a whole. But who was Alex? Just Alex? He had no idea. He had poured so much of himself into the relationship that he had forgotten to save any for himself. That realization was a small, flickering candle in the vast darkness of his despair. He decided to do something he hadn't done in years. He took a day off, not to mope, but to simply be. He drove to the coast, a place they had always talked about visiting but never did. He walked along the beach, the cold wind whipping at his face, the roar of the ocean a powerful, cleansing sound. He watched the waves crash against the shore, relentlessly, and felt a strange sense of kinship with their tireless energy. This trip sparked something. He started small. He remembered he used to love painting before he met her, a passion he'd packed away like an old sweater. He bought a cheap set of canvases and paints and just started. At first it was just angry slashes of color, a chaotic mess that mirrored the turmoil inside him. But slowly, shapes began to form, landscapes from his memory, faces from his imagination. The act of creating was a balm to his wounded soul. It was something that was entirely his. From there, the small steps became bigger strides. He joined a hiking club. He had always been an indoor person, content with the comfort of his home. But now he craved the challenge of the trail, the burn in his legs, the breathtaking view from the summit. He met new people, not to replace what he had lost, but to build something new. People who knew him as Alex, the hiker, the painter. Not Alex, the guy whose wife left him. He started cooking for himself, experimenting with recipes he'd always wanted to try. He discovered he had a knack for spicy food and a love for baking bread from scratch. His home, once a silent monument to a failed marriage, began to fill with new sounds and smells. The aroma of fresh bread, the sound of his own laughter, the music he actually liked, played at full volume. Months turned into a year. Alex was a different person. He was healthier, fitter, and more at peace than he had ever been. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. He hadn't forgotten the pain, but it no longer defined him. It was now a scar, a part of his story, a reminder of the strength he didn't know he had. He realized that his wife leaving wasn't the end of his life. It was the catalyst for him to actually start living it. One day he got a message from her. A simple, "I'm sorry. I hope you're okay." A year ago, that message would have sent him spiraling. But now he looked at it, took a deep breath, and typed back a simple, honest reply. "I am." And he meant it. He felt no anger, no bitterness, just a quiet sense of gratitude. He was grateful for the journey, for the rediscovery, for the man he had become. Alex's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes our deepest wounds can lead to our greatest growth. The night he found out, he lost his wife, but in the process, he finally found himself. He learned that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Nurture it, cherish it, and never, ever lose sight of who you are. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this time with me. If this story resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content that explores the resilience of the human spirit. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.